Fuck, mate, I'm not a tech guy, you know what I mean? So it could be anything, mate.
That's
all right,
good.
take number 127. Off you go, bro.
All right. There we go. All right, my name is Josh Hilbers, and I am a mindset coach. I specialize in leading men through their shame, guilt, through their trauma, their addiction, to the freedom of finding their purpose, direction, and living a more healthier, fulfilling life around their health, relationships, and just their life in general. A little bit of a background history of me. I am used to be a full-time skydive instructor. I traveled the world doing it. I've got a 3,600 jumps. I can take you for a skydive. I can teach you to skydive. For that history and that journey there, I'm also 3 years plus clean, healthy, and sober. I realized that I was going down a very dark path. I was punishing myself a lot. I was doing a lot of escaping, going through my own traumas and addictions. From wounds of watching my mum be killed in the Christchurch earthquakes to just in general life, how we just everyone has those challenges, and I wasn't coping with them. So one day I realized I had to make a shift and realized that I was no longer serving myself or serving anyone else, and so I decided to use my power for good. And ever since that day, I've been just climbing the ladder, taking charge of my body, taking charge of my mind, taking charge of my spirit, and leaving a bit of a, I guess you could say, a ripple effect and a legacy as I do so for myself and family.
Fuck, man, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Would you say the earthquake was what was the main catalyst and triggered it, or was it your own personal experiences, what was going on inside of you?
For the drive and hunger where I'm at now?
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely was the earthquakes. For me, before that, I was very sheltered. I had a mum that did everything for me. I guess you could say I was never too well off or too, I never had it too good or too bad. I was in the middle, and I was in no man's land. And the earthquake really sort of shook up my whole being, and it gave me the opportunity then to say, hey, it's time to go from a boy to a man. So I wasn't ready for it, and I didn't realize that was a lesson to be learned. So when the day happened and I witnessed that, watched the building go down, I watched my mum be killed inside, and from there I shut off and decided not to grow. So that's hence why I sort of buried myself in the drinking and the drugs. And so I had to put myself through more pain and more heartache for me to realize, to have that shift, that how powerful I was in doing so. So the earthquakes really did shape and mold me into becoming who I am. I realized that I wasn't going to live a life of mediocrity and realized just to end up dead anyway. So that really gave me that drive and hunger in a negative way at first, and now in a very positive way in doing so.
Yeah, it's crazy how sometimes you need that negative catalyst to then spark so much positivity. You know what I mean? Because at the start, it seems so dark, so painful, and then it ends up being this beautiful light that ends up pushing you to things that you never even thought were capable. You know what I mean?
Completely. It's a lot of us shy away from pain. A lot of us think it's not a good thing to have that sort of darkness or those moments. And when you're in that moment, of course, it's your tunnel vision. You're the only one in that moment, and it's very hard to see outside of yourself and of that situation. So really, that pain is your power. Your message. And if you can look at it in a way that you're learning, what can I learn from this? You'll see that there's actually a greater gift in that mess, in that meaning, in that hurt, in that suffering. And when you can give that meaning to yourself, meaning to that situation in your life, then from there you've got the motivation to really push yourself forward.
Fuck yeah, man. So what made you settle on mindset and life coaching, man? How come you didn't go down other avenues? What was the draw factor towards that?
It's really interesting. I've over my journey, I've been a very logical man. Facts, reasons, science, all of that.
Yep.
And I've stayed away from the sort of, I guess you could say, the law of attraction, the manifestation, the bit of the woo-woo stuff. And I've realized over this time that there's a higher power at work. And when I was drinking and partying and doing my thing, every now and again I would make the smart ass comment, because we'd always have these deep, meaningful conversations. It's 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sure you've been in that situation before where fully down the rabbit hole, and you sort of go. And people used to say, it's really deep, it's really insightful. And I always used to say, all else failed in my life, I'd become a life coach. And the funny thing is that when I got sober, I call it the six-pack to loneliness. So when I got sober and I realized that I'd done a lot of things that I wasn't proud of in my life, I had a lot of shame, a lot of guilt around my past, around things that I'd done, things that had done to me. And, so I thought I'll do an external sort of situation and I'll be like, all right, I'll get the six-pack, I'll make myself look good. I'll get the hot woman and the girlfriend, the high school sweetheart, make me look good. I'll start new businesses and look like I get it going on. And on the outside, it looks like I'm on point and like no one knows my dirty secrets or, my past or anything like that. But I knew, my mind knew. Every time I looked in the mirror, it didn't matter how good I looked, it wasn't good enough. And I still felt insane. And even though I wasn't using, I was like, Jesus, what's going on? Like, I'm feeling just as bad as I was drinking and using than when I was sober. And so I went and did the counseling, psychotherapist, I even did group meetings, AAA and they all benefited me. They all kept me going, but it was just like putting a Band-Aid on the wound. It wasn't going in and taking the shrapnel out and doing the stitches and then letting that scar heal for good. And so I had this on Facebook, a Facebook ad pop about this guy named Luke Hawkins who really changed my life, saying life coaching and business course. And I was like, okay, cool. And I decided to have a look at it. And it was just a 3-hour free seminar. And I sort of thought, okay, this would be the Tony Robbins, look for the smoke and mirrors, see what's going on. I was a bit apprehensive at the start. But through those 3 hours, after at the end, I realized that it was the same feeling I had when I first became a skydiver. I was standing on the edge of the door, holding onto the plane, and for a moment, I didn't want to jump. For a moment, I was just and just say, hey, I'm not going to do this. This is too much. I'm not ready for this. So I knew if I didn't let go at that time, I was going to regret it for the rest of my life. My life was never going to go anywhere. So I decided to take a leap of faith on myself in the sky. And so I decided to take a leap of faith on the mindset coaching. And from that, I dived into doing NLP, which I now become a neurolinguistic programmer, master NLP, master neurolinguistic programmer, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, along with many other courses, relationship courses, and I just continue doing it. And so I dive down into the personal development world around. And from there, I really dive deeper into, our values, our beliefs, our identities, our unconscious mind does. It's sort of like the hard drive and the supercomputer of our body and of our conscious mind. And so when I tapped into that, and once I healed myself, and once I realized that I no longer identified myself of who I was, and now I could look at myself as who I am becoming.
Yeah,
that's when things shifted, and then that's like I want everyone else to have this gift.
That's fucking massive though, mate, because the amount of times that people sort of, like we said, it can be positive. You take that negative, you turn it into a positive, you help it become a lesson, you help it drive you forward. But the amount of times that people keep that baggage and put a ceiling of where they can end up going or end up becoming simply because of whatever happened in the past is, mate, it's crazy. And like, once you actually like sort of take a step back and you watch people and you kind of hear some stories that they've got to say, it's like it's more people than not, and like it's just not talked about.
No.
Do you have more people coming to you that are men, ladies, or a little bit of a mix?
A little bit of a mix. It would be predominantly women, because as a woman, as a feminine, they're very more in tune with their feelings, more in tune with their emotions, and they really want to sort of feel, listen, and be seen for who they are and do that growth. Whereas with men, we are very, we're strong. We're told to be hard, be tough. Don't be a coward. Don't be crying or anything like that. Don't be going asking for help. You're showing weakness. So it takes a lot to really, have a man sort of have the humility to sort of show his heart.
But there's some strength in that, right?
And that's the thing. Once a man can go through that and have the vulnerability, it's like Brene Brown. She says, back in the day, our ancestors, when our ancestors used to go to war on the battlefield, everyone used to think they were courageous. But what came with courage? It was vulnerability, because they knew regardless of whether they were going to live or die, it didn't matter. They still charged. and they're still charged with a blind faith it's going to be all right, and they were doing it for something more. And that's what gave them that's what they were prepared to die, but they were also prepared to do it for someone else. And the thing is that with a lot of us, and it's like Tony Robbins says, is that if you get inside your head, you're dead. And a lot of us spend a lot of time in our head, and we replay past events, and we sit on them, we claim them like trophies, badges, identities. We keep instilling it, and so it gets a lot harder to break out of that because all you believe is that. So when you're in that tunnel vision, that's where it goes. And so it comes when you've had that much pain, where you're like, enough is enough, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do so. Then from there, you have the opportunity to go changing. So the key next is that the only way to get through to the other side is going through.
Yeah. But then once you've gone through it, you end up seeing. It's funny this because I was having a conversation with one of my athletes last night about exactly the same thing, which is kind of freaky. But anyway, once you go through it, like it's like you see life in a different dimension because you have the lessons of all those dark times of the past experiences of whatever you had to go through, and now you no longer see life in a tunnel vision. Now you see everything.
Yes.
And like, I mean, it's kind of fucked up saying it, but you can only ever be grateful for what happened to you simply because now you look at life in just a completely different sense. Or that's how I think anyway.
Yeah, and that gratitude is the attitude that's going to allow you to look at, what you have now with so much more beauty. It's also going to allow you to see how far you've come. And a lot of people, they talk about gratitude, which is a powerful tool and a powerful thing to do. But it's also proud. Like, for men, we like to think that we're proud, that we don't feel like we're proud because we feel like of certain events and situations that we are bad people or we've done bad things. That means we're never worthy of love. We never will be worthy enough or worthy to have what we want. So when we look back and we say like, shit, look where I was like a year ago. Look where I was 5 years ago. You look where you were 10 years ago to who you are now, how you've changed, how you've grown. And that's something, because what we thought we were going to get through a year ago is no longer a problem. We forget about the problem that we had a year ago and the struggles that we were going to get through. And then we're focusing about the next problems that we have here. And so, gratitude, the attitude that's going to allow you to get through, but also having a bit of proud, looking back and reflecting to be, hey, look, I'm proud of myself for this. I'm proud of myself for that. I did make this. I have survived. I have overcome. And it's from there. And sometimes, we get stuck on the situation at hand.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So what do you do? What's your anchor for your day and your mindset? Or if there's a routine that you have to do, whether it's in the morning, the night, middle of the day, it doesn't really matter. What is your anchor that keeps you set to stop you going back down that path?
Yeah. There's many. I've tried many rituals, morning routines, and the best one that I've found at the moment, which really works for me, is I wake up at 4:30 on the weekdays. So 4:30, I wake up regardless of what time I go to bed. I'm waking up at about 4:30. I wake up straight away. I brush my teeth, and I start going through what I'm grateful for, what I'm grateful for having, what I'm grateful for my life, everything like that while I'm brushing my teeth, just going through my mind. Then from there, I go into have a shower, have a warm shower just to get things going, and then I have a cold shower for 2.5 minutes. And then after that 2.5 minutes, I'm present, I'm alive, I'm vibing. And then after that, I do something that I haven't done. I've resisted for a long time that I've just implemented in the last month, and it's absolutely changed my life, is affirmations. And I do it like my 5 minutes certainty. My 5 minutes of certainty. So what I do is I read out my affirmations. I got a list. I read them out. I say them loud. I say them proud. I got a song playing on that I anchor in me. So I'm using my voice. I'm using my tonality. I'm using my emotions. I'm using my physiology, and I'm going to town on myself. And then I'm in the mirror, looking at the mirror, just in here, just laying them out. And then from there, every time I finish them, I slap my chest and go yes. And it just sort of sends like through the nervous system of me acting up and alive. And then from there, after that, I go to my workout, I get my morning workout in at 5:30, and then after that, whatever happens for the rest of the day, I'm winning, I'm on point, I handle it, I do a bit more if I need to, but that's my golden thing that I've found. And I've tried meditation and like meditation, reading, all sorts of things, but, having smoothies and all of that. But yeah, that one right there, that's my gold.
I love that, man. And like I say it all the time, is like if you want to make a change, just own your morning. All you got to do is do the same shit every morning that puts your head in a good place. And if everything else during the day is shit, it doesn't matter because you've owned your morning. You've set up in the way that you wanted to do to tackle the day in the best form you could possibly do it. And then whatever it'll be, it'll be. Like tomorrow is a new day. You do the same shit. You do the same thing. And it's funny you say 4:30 because I had Kels on the other week, and he said 4:30, and then I remember I had a really regimented routine, like morning routine, when I was back in the UK, and I woke up at 4:30. And everyone I've spoke to has always been 4:30. It was never like 4 or 5 or 4:45. It's always been 4:30, which is kind of weird, but anyway, that's just one of those things. But owning the morning for me, like granted I'm a morning person too, but owning the morning for me is fucking vital. Like if I sleep in, especially on the weekdays, if I sleep in, it fucks my mindset. Like I'm done. I'm like, oh, I'm 2 hours down. I need to make it up somewhere. I'm like flustered in my head. I'm not set. I've not ran through things. I've not mentally rehearsed. And like it's as simple as getting up half an hour earlier, chugging a bit of water, looking yourself in the mirror and just be like, okay, being grateful, affirmations, whatever you need to do, getting a cold shower, and then just crack on.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You win your morning, you win your day. And if you can get up before, if you're prepared to do if you're prepared to do what most aren't, like if you're prepared to do and go that extra mile, you're gonna slowly start pulling ahead. And the big one is that a lot of people not stick it long enough to actually start seeing the results and the rewards and the changes.
Yep.
And it's a mundane process. It's like lifting. How do you get better at snatching? How do you get better at cleaning? How do you get better at doing pull-ups or press-ups or bench? It's constant repetition. Repetition. And I heard it from Conor McGregor. Constant repetition carries conviction. And so when you can build that belief in yourself, when you can start to, that's when you really start to change. And the only way your life is going to change is when you start thinking it's going to change and you start believing it's going to change. And I listen to Conor McGregor a lot. I play a lot of Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Not for his yarns, even though they're classic. Though for the complete conviction and certainty behind him. That man talks with so much presence, so much authority, so much certainty in himself that he has created the life he wants. And he said a very powerful thing which really made me shift, is that a lot of people have all these massive dreams and beliefs in their minds. All of us do. All of us have them. What if this? What if that? I love that. All this goal, and all that. Oh, none of us, only very few speak it. Only very few of us put it out into the universe and put it out so others can hear it. And regardless what anyone thinks or what anyone says, still continue to put it out. And when you put it out, it has matter to take action. It's got the backbone to start creating. And then from there you start taking the action.
Yeah.
That's the massive. A lot of people have it up in their mind. Very few are scared to do it. But if you can think it up here, and if you can have the courage to speak it, it will happen.
For sure. And it's the difference between attitude and arrogance, right? Like you have to have the confidence to believe in yourself. But ego is a weird term, right? And where do you stand on this? I'd be really interested because like ego has a purpose and it has its time, and you need to brush it sometimes. And then you also need to fucking knock it out of the park and just say, hey, you're just another human being. You need to crack on and work hard. So like, yes, have like so much self-confidence in yourself that it doesn't matter what happens, you're going to be okay. So I always break it down to the fact of like, if everything left you, like your clothes, your money, parents, loved ones, everyone fucking left you. You were like in the middle of nowhere. You were naked, no food, no nothing. You would survive. Like you are an independent person. You would survive. You would not die. You would figure it out. All right. So like having the confidence in yourself to think, yeah, I'm gonna be all right. But not being so much where you become that arrogant piece of shit who walks in just like, oh yeah, look at me, Billy Big Bollocks on the block, you know what I mean? And it's a weird mix. And where do you stand on that? How would you like play around with that yo-yo so you get the confidence, but you don't get that arrogance?
Good question. And the ego is really handy. Ego is the driving that sort of gets you to sort of like the go getter. You know, it will get you. It can help you survive in a fight. It can help you win a competition. It can help you sort of persevere for goals. So ego can also, if you get too carried away and you let it run you, it can destroy everything around you. And ego, you need the ego. You need the ego. It's the balance between the ego likes to compare. The ego likes to compare to everyone else. It likes a lot of negative. It likes a lot of gossip. It likes a lot of feeding and festering on everything. And so when you're thinking and comparing yourself to others, when you're looking for the negatives, when you're looking for the bad, when you look at yourself in the mirror, do you look for the good things that you have, or do you look for the bad things that you have? Because if you find that you're looking for the bad things, your ego is looking for the bad things about you, to criticize you, to keep knocking you down. So your ego will drive you to be better. So if you do not have the heart behind it or the spirit behind it for what it is that you're driving, it's going to run you wild. And you've got to realize that a lot of, you've got to go to the point where you've got to start looking at you as a being, as a love source, as the heart, and deciding like who it is that you are, who it is that you want to become, because that right there is going to keep you centered. That right there is going to keep you humbled. Because once you realize how hard you've trained, or how hard you've worked, or how hard you've achieved all your success, and you can have the humility to think like, hey, I did this, I did that, but look, I know how hard it was to get there, and you can see others going after it.
That's really interesting, man. Like you speak about like containing your ego, and that's fascinating. I've never even thought about it from that angle before. And like, yeah, fucking hell, like you use it to help you, right? You use it for you rather than letting it run you, and that you do that by figuring out who the person you want to be, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It comes down to the simple fact, like my mother told me this, it's one of the biggest lessons I learned is like treat others how you'd like to be treated.
Yeah, yeah.
So the more you treat yourself, the better you treat yourself is the better you treat others. When you have a standard for yourself, like a lot of people in this life, they wonder, like, when people say, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to start then, or I'm going to start on Monday, or something like that. And then when the day comes, they never do it. And then they sort of beat themselves down, and they sort of say, look, I'm not good enough, or I never stick to it, or, it's just this, or they blame it on something else. And that's the ego knocking them down. When really, it's not that they can't do it, it's that they don't trust themselves. It's not that they're lazy or anything like that. It's that they have been saying they're going to do something for so long, and they never do it. They keep lying to themselves. They keep breaking their trust with themselves. Someone's going to do something and never did it. Would you believe in them?
Yeah, that's true, man.
So you've got to, when you come to doing that, it's building that trust. And to build that trust, not only with your ego, but with your heart, is by honoring the commitments you make to yourself. And sometimes it can just start off with one thing at a time, like, waking up earlier, just getting up earlier, getting out of bed earlier. And then, even getting out of bed, walk around for 5 minutes and go back to bed. Then the next day, do it again. And then the next day, do it again. And the next day, do it again. And then after a while, after a week, you're going to find that you're not going to go back to bed because you're like, well, I get up at this time. I might as well do something else. And then after that, you're like, all right, let's go do a walk. Let's go for a run. I'll put my shoes on. I'll walk around the block. I'll come back and I'll run. I'll go and I'll do it again the next day, And then eventually, well, I'm here now. Why don't I walk 2 blocks? Why don't I walk 4? And then you build that trust. And then when you build that trust in yourself, then you build this identity of who you are. And then when you have an identity of who you are, it's just what you do. And then from there, you've got a balance of the ego. The ego is giving you that sort of confidence. And every now and again, it's going to check you. And it's going to get you, get ahead of yourself. And that's where you have that humility and be humble, come from the heart and realize how far I've come, what I've done, where I was. Like for me, it takes a lot of courage for me sometimes to, be a bit confident and be a bit cocky and put myself out there when, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm Josh, sometimes the fucking, addicts and alcoholic, and the things that I've done, and those sort of things play in my head, but that's just my ego saying, trying to look for the nitpicky and beat myself down. Whereas when you can move to your heart and you can live from your heart and just live your true, authentic self and have that trust for yourself, then you realize that you need no permission and that you're allowed to be you. It's like it's safe to be you.
Fuck yeah, man. Do you think you doubt yourself and the ego sort of plays in because you fear that you're not going to be great when you first start? Or do you think because you've created that habit of like breaking your own trust, like you said, of I said I'm going to do it and then obviously I don't do it?
Yeah, I get the doubt all the time. Every day I have that. Every day I have that. And when you doubt, that's your ego sort of playing on you, festering on you. And it's when you build that trust with yourself, that you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to trust. Like, when I first got sober, and I was thinking about this the other day, is that when I first got sober, I didn't know these tools and these techniques. I didn't understand the heart. I didn't understand emotions and feelings or anything like that. So I had deep down inside me a belief that I was going to be better. I was going to be better than what I was and where I was. I was going to do it, and it didn't matter how. And I forgot about the how. And I just sort of made sure the why is that I did something better. I did something better, whether it was for that day, it was just working out, whether it was just reading a book, or whether it was just to just get through the day without picking up a drink. And then the next day came, and then, what I was worrying about that day, the day before, is different. It got better, and it carried on from there, and I built a bit of a trust in myself. And the best thing is, a lot of people, it comes down to those affirmations. And I thought this was woo-woo stuff, the old affirmations, I am loved, I am worthy, I am great, I'm powerful. I thought that was all bullshit. I didn't think it made any difference. So when you have everything in your head, good and bad, just replaying itself, whatever it might be, mostly negative, because it's like 90% of our mind and our thoughts are negative. So when you've got replaying, it's just getting crowded in there. But when you start speaking or you start writing, you're taking what's out of your head and putting it out, and you can actually look at it for what it is. And then you have more room and space to create what you want in that life, in yourself. And so when you start speaking it, it feels strange. It feels weird. You feel like you're a fraud. You feel like you're bullshitting yourself, even if you're just saying, I love myself. Like, how many people actually really say that I love myself? And all that. But when you start saying it and you say it long enough, you start to feel warm. You start to put on a bit of a smile. You start to feel a bit more energy. You start to believe in yourself. And then from there, you start to act in a more loving way, or act in a more powerful way, or act in the way that you want to become. And then from there, you start changing your life from that. So, like before you asked me that question, you said before, if we lost everything, we just had, our bare back, we would survive. We would survive. And if we were courageous enough that time to speak what our life was going to look like, who we would become, we would create that reality. We would create that reality.
For sure, man. And like you touched on something really, really fucking powerful there when you said like trusting yourself and creating that connection with yourself. Like people get caught up in what other people think of them, right? Of the external. Yet the internal is built on a shit foundation. We're built on the sand rather than the rock. I always go back to that analogy, and it fucking hit me back from school. And you know, they did something right in an assembly. I wasn't asleep. But like, we've all made mistakes, right? We've all fucked up. And some people say it's the devil and the angel. Matthew McConaughey says about the good and bad wolf. You've just got to feed the good one a little bit more than the bad one. And like, it's being able to learn to live with yourself from the shit you have done, to learn the lesson and then go forward from it. And like, again, this is all personal, right? So everything's individualized. We're all different. What is your like go-to to stop yourself thinking, oh well, you're actually a dickhead because you've done X, Y, and Z, rather than, in fact, no, I've learned from that. I'm no longer that person. Blah blah blah. Blah. What's your go-to? How do you mentally stop yourself going down that rabbit hole?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question, and the big one, I guess you could say, the big one for me is that's got me to where I am at the moment is forgiveness.
Mm.
When you forgive yourself for where you're at, for what you've done, what's happened to you, you instantly dissolve that problem. So when we have that mistake or something that traumatic happened to us, it's like an invisible chain. We're connected to that situation. We're connected to that person. And for the rest of our life, until we cut that link, we're dragging them around. And chances are, when it's so bad, we don't share it with others. And if we do share it, we just share our side of the story and maybe not the whole picture. So for me to, like, if I'm feeling guilty, if I'm feeling bad, if I'm feeling doubt, and if it's to do with someone else, if it's to do with an external situation, I look at it as like, okay, and what am I responsible in it? How did I create this? And then I ask, I'm like, what is the higher purpose and lesson to learn from this? And chances are, is like, do I owe an apology? Do I need to make amends? Do I need to say something? Do I need to clean it up? And if it's a yes, then I'll go and I'll apologize to that person, or I'll apologize to that event, and I'll say sorry for my actions and behavior. And as soon as I do that, I cut that chain from that situation. It's out in the open. It's not in my head anymore. It's not festering. No, it's like, and whether it's right or wrong, it's the truth. And the truth is like a lion. You set it free, it will defend itself. And then no one can use that against you. And then when you do that, then that's when you can start to move forward, because it's no longer your own anymore. Because a lot of that self-doubt, that negativity, that mindset, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough, or I'm a bad person, or I'm a failure, or I'm a loser, it's all stemmed because of what you believed that you did to someone else, or something else was done to you. So when you give it, when you open up, when you put that truth into it, it no longer has any attachment to you. It is the most freeing feeling that I've ever experienced in my life, was actually just forgiving myself and having allow others to forgive me if they could, or have what they needed to say to me if they needed to be aggressive. So once it was done, and I no longer had that. And so it's the forgiveness of yourself in that situation, and asking how did I create this?
Yeah.
So because we can't change anything that's not me. And I can't change anything, I can't learn anything that's not me. So you've got to take 100% accountability for who you are, for where you are, and for what's happening, regardless if you did it or it was done to you. Because only you, it's not how you react, it's how you respond. But when you can find that situation, and you can find that power, and you can find the lessons from it, and then forgive, learn, and move on, that's when you can go from that. And then doing the positives, doing the positivity, like the morning rituals, feeding your mind with, a good podcast, good books, good music, affirmations, feeding your body with good food, good nutrition, good working out, spirit, doing some meditation, some yoga, some cold therapy, surrounding yourself in an environment of people where you want to be, people that are growing, people that are striving. Get away from the negativity, get away from the pub, get away from the fast food, get away from the game, get away from the porn, whatever it might be. That's what will keep you focusing forward. So, yeah, it's a big one. What I say, it sounds easy, it sounds small, and it sounds simple, and it is.
Yeah.
Though it's completely opposite from what we've been taught to or to do.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's really powerful. It's so powerful, and it all starts within the four walls of your mind, right? And it all starts with you and making sure you're good upstairs, you're good in your heart, and then putting it out into the world and actually fabricating it.
Exactly.
Do you think about legacy, or do you think about the right now? Are you right now, what's in front of your hands, sort of 6 inches in front of your face sort of guy, or are you like, what am I going to be remembered for in the next however many years?
I was that for many years. When I was in the fast lane, I was that for many years. Now I'm looking ahead a bit more. Now I'm looking ahead a bit further. I've got I look towards what my mum did for me, and more than just my mum, but my mother, she blood, sweat, and tears, gave everything for me and my brother, and and then it ended up, she was killed and crushed, having her back and neck crushed, broken and all that, and one of the biggest fears that I had in my life was what I would look like in her eyes, to see the man that I'd become and see the man what I'd done. And that guilt and shame buried me even more and more and more until I realized that I could actually change this. And now it's for me to live that legacy for my mum. The things that, when we were young, we said, Mum, I'm going to buy you the house. I'm going to make sure you relax. I'll retire you and all that. And, we meant, but like, we're well over our heads and that shit. And now I realize that I can actually may not be able to do that for her physically, but I can do that for her mentally now, and on a level where, she's in the city right now. She's got her name on the remembrance wall, like her name, she was worthy of the gold. She was worthy of being remembered. Maybe not for this, but, it was her death is what made me and my brother, I think, me especially, become the men that we are and what we can do to make a difference and an impact. Because people talk about addiction and people talk about trauma like it's such a heavy thing and a bad thing. And yes, it happens, and it happens to everyone, though it's not a bad thing. It's a lesson. It's a gift because it's giving us something to learn. And when you can see it from that light, then you realize that it's not actually, it's like an identity. It's a label, and it's a moment. It's not your whole life. But all of us take it on as our whole life as an identity. Like, for many years, I was the boy that watched his mother be killed. And I was the boy, not the man, the boy.
Mm.
And I was like, now I'm the man that's fucking overcome. I'm going on to being like, the New Zealand Tony Robbins. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I speak to myself. That's how I look at myself. It's a bit fucking full on. Josh, who have you got the right to say that? Well, who cares? It's all I need to believe in. And
For sure, man. And if you don't have your own back, who else is? Who's gonna do it? And like,
carry on.
no, I was just gonna say, put your back against the fucking wall. That's the way I think about it. Like, put your back against the fucking wall. There is no one else around. There's no one else who's gonna help you out. The only way to do it is go forward. Like that's fucking rough, man. That's heavy. Like watching your mum and it seems like the biggest role model in your life, and then is no longer. And it's like, well, using her legacy and the lessons that she taught you and everything that she's done for you to then completely change the way you were living your life, to then move forward and make such a positive impact on then others, never mind yourself. And like, that's fucking powerful.
Yeah, and that's, I appreciate that, brother. And that's the gift that all of us have within us for whatever our story is, or whoever we've lost. And I just a big one before that you said about how people are worried about what other people think.
Mm.
The key there is that when people are worried about what other people think, there's a saying: if you put your power into people, places, and things, you'll always be let down, because things will always change, places will always move around, and people will always change their mind. None of them stay the same. They always grow. They're always changing. So if you're worried about what everyone else is doing, if you're worried about what everyone else is thinking, if you're worried about trying to please everyone, they're going to change. They're going to move. They're going to grow. They're going to break. So it only comes down to you when you're comfortable in yourself and you're proud of who yourself, you've made the decision who you're going to become, then you'll find that you're going to start attracting the people around you that you want in your life. You're going to attract the places that you want to be and the things that you want. So
Oh,
like
mate,
saying,
that's massive. That's so big. Like, I say it to everyone, like-minded people end up gravitating towards each other. And even if you need to stand on that fucking pedestal for a while and like big up your own chest, keep your back against the wall, like we just said, and just like have your own back, people end up gravitating towards you, whether you find each other in a gym, whether you fucking bump each other in the street, whether you end up buying a coffee for some random person and you end up getting chatting, or you buy someone off a barista or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, people end up finding each other, and then your like circle fucking lifts you up. Like fucking Denzel Washington says, like, if you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll end up being a sixth, right? It's fucking true, because you end up learning and helping and growing and pushing and pulling and all that sort of shit with everyone, mate. And it all starts off with the confidence and using your ego, like you said, for you at the start, for you, and then everything else falls into place.
100%, 100%. That's all it is. You start with the belief in yourself. That's mindset. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
mindset.
mindset. That is.
That's mindset, and that's where it is. And when you can have that place and that certainty in yourself, it's what's it? You become unstoppable.
You do, and it's beautiful, but it's beautiful in hindsight, because in the middle of it, like, you feel like shit, and it's fucking hard. It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do.
I don't care who you are. 4:30 sucks getting up. It sucks getting up at fucking 4:30. I tell you,
Yeah.
it's a battle. Every morning it is a battle. And a lot of people think like, no, I should be kind. I should be doing it easy. I shouldn't have to stress so hard. It's going to take work. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel sick. You're going to feel run down. You know, those are the times that you keep doing it.
Yeah.
And
It's the same thing with the gym, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And everyone's like, "Oh, how do you do that?" And I'm like, it still fucking hurts. Like, it hurts a lot. You just do it anyway.
It's
It's like,
going to get
like,
better.
how does Fraser do it? How does Tia do it? I'm like, well, they still hurt too, you know. They're human. They bleed.
Yeah.
Like, they just crack on.
Exactly. They've focused on what their goal is. They're not focusing on what themselves or the situation. They're focusing on the bigger picture, the further picture, because they're trusting the process.
Yep. Trust in
And
the process.
the self-talk is just insane, you know, like, I guess, for a little tip for anyone, like, for me, when I go to a lift now, when I do the workout, sometimes when I feel like I'm struggling, when I feel sick, when I feel like quitting, when I feel tired, I start repeating, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm unstoppable. I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm unstoppable. And it just kicks into that new lift, that new rep, and that one more, and that little bit heavier. And then it just gets me out of my head, and it gets me out of thinking about the pain, and it gets me thinking about who I am, where I'm going.
Is that something you do all the time? That's your only get to?
I've got many, but that, like, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm unstoppable, with like my little gym in the gym. When I'm about to go lift, I'm about to go, when I'm in the pain of doing the burpees, I'm just like, fuck this, getting out of the van. It's like, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm unstoppable. And then it's slowly, like, the body's like, oh yeah, we are. Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool, keep going.
Yeah.
And you sort of kick yourself into it.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I'm just comparing that to like shit that goes through my head, and I'm like, mine changes, man. Like, I'm a bit of a weird case, because very rarely I'll be positive. Very rarely I'll be like, come on, you can do this. Like, good job. Get the pom poms out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm from like west side of Manchester. It's normally like, fucking move, cunt. Like, don't be a fucking bitch. Like, don't be shit. And like, fucking, like, no one likes a skinny bitch and shit like that. Like, fucking going hard at yourself just to make yourself a little bit angry, and using that fucking pain. But it's yeah, that's interesting. Like, people, you see it. Like, if you say, for example, you watch the class, this is all physical now, but it touches on the mental. If you watch the class and you just watch people's facial expressions, you fucking tell what's going through their head. And like they end up quitting way before they start tapping into their potential, even just for one workout, even just for one lift, whatever. They'll quit because it's like, it hurts. I'm like, no, you're just uncomfortable. But the thing is, you've been uncomfortable since the warm-up. So you might as well fucking keep going. Like, at 10-minute mark, you're going to stop anyway. Like, it's a 10-minute workout. So you might as well just carry on.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is you touched on a good point. It's like before they've even done the workout, before they've even done the warm-up, they've already made it uncomfortable. They've already made it good. They've already made in their mindset what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And it creates that. If you can go in with a positive attitude and just be like, hey, look, I'm going to do this. This is fun. This is simple. This is easy. If you can start treating it like that, then you start shit. Yeah, it's really interesting. If you can look at people and you're already well aware of this, you can see in their minds what they're thinking, where they're at, and what's going on, whether they're going to tackle it or not.
Yeah. It's fascinating, mate. It's fascinating. I am fascinated by the mindset of some people, of like where they have to go for them as a individual to make them do whatever they have to do, whether it is an exam, whether it is doing shit to improve their relationships, whether it is fucking training, whatever it is. I'm fascinated by like some people go really positive, some people go really dark, some people go in the middle, some people like don't think about it and just like play tunes. And it's like, I'm like, wow, like different people's psyche just like fucking makes them do shit that their ego would be like, calm down, sit down. You know what I mean? Eat a donut, fucking play on the PlayStation, don't do anything. You're just like, nah, sometimes you gotta get a bit mad, sometimes you gotta be a little bit kinder on yourself, and like it's all about like the law of averages, right? And making sure we kind of go up in a linear. It's going to be undulating up and down, but as long as the trend kind of goes up, you're all good.
100%. And whatever you need to motivate yourself, like sometimes there's some fucking very, very dark thoughts that go through my mind about myself. You know what I mean? Like, come on, motherfucker. Come on, you piece of shit. Like, get after it. You know? There's no excuse. That is not acceptable. But the thing is that like, just say, for example, for working out for the lifts, if someone wants to get a pull-up, or someone wants to get a press-up, or someone wants to get a snatch, or someone wants to get a ring muscle-up, you must have the belief in yourself that you are going to do it. You must have the belief in yourself, picture that you are doing it, that it is done. When? Who knows? If you set a date, even better. But that belief right there, that's what's going to allow you to go through those days where the warm-up hurts, the workout hurts, the stretching hurts, the rest of the day hurts. I'm tired. When you have that and you keep going that's when people are the ones that like have quit or given up before the warm-up, before the workout. Deep down, they do not have the belief that they feel like they're actually getting ahead, or the belief that they're actually going to achieve the goal that they want.
That's it there. Believing that you've already done it, it's just showing the rest of the world that you can do it. Like, that to me is where I go with lifts. Because I'm just like, I know that number's there, but right now, today, of the sleep I've had, the stress that's going on, the food I've eaten, whatever, it's not there right today. I didn't do it today, but I've done it. And you're just like, well, you haven't done it. Well, literally, no, I've not done it, but it's there. I'm capable of doing it. It's just showing you that I'm capable of doing it. I fucking know it. And like being able to take that outside of the gym, I'm a gym head, gym rat. But like carving it with a piece of iron, bit of steel and a barbell, and then taking it and then putting it elsewhere. That's where the mindset comes in, man. That's 100%. Where the mindset comes in.
And it's like your relationship, like your ideal partner, the way you want them to act, the way you want them to look, the way they want to live your life. That's how you create your relationship, the belief of what the relationship is, even if it sounds like a fairy tale or fantasy. That's it. Your business and career, if you believe that you're going to make the millions, if you're going to believe that you're going to start your own business, if you believe that you're going to be successful, you've got to have that belief first. And then it's interesting because it's like, I've heard people, you got to have belief before the work, or belief before it happens. But you've got to have that. You've got to have a belief, that it's going to work, then you've got to put the hard work in, and then the belief will come after that.
Yeah.
Because the belief will get you started, the hard work will start creating it, and then you have the belief because you've created it, and you're like, haha. It's
weird. It's a bit oxymoronic, but you need two and two to go together, but you need one to get the other one. But it's just it all starts with the work, right? Like, I mean, everyone, like I've been stripping it down, and I think people should dream a lot. I think people should. Oh, where would I honestly love to be? Like, just fucking dream big, but then strip it back and create goals, and then strip it back and create like to-do lists, and strip it back and then create habits and like morning stuff and blah blah blah, and like fucking again, Denzel Washington says it like he's a 30-year overnight sensation, and it's fucking true, right? Because he's just like focused on his feet, taking one step in front of the other, and just going forward. But like something that I'm interested in is, do you think it takes like a complete breakdown, or do you think it takes like something seriously fucking dark to happen to someone for them to make the change and think, you know what, I'm actually going to commit to this? Or do you think it like just gradually sort of happens to people?
From most of history, when severe pain or trauma or event happens, that usually gives people the shift to be like, holy fuck, what's going on here? What am I doing to do so? Like I sure as hell was going to end up if my mum didn't die, I would have been a labourer, no hope, unqualified, drinking, drugging boy for the life. That pain shifted me. And I'm grateful for that because it's made me the man I am today. And a lot of people, a lot of pain. Pain's a big motivator, though. You can create the life that you want in a positive way if you just so happen to decide and make a decision and have a belief about it and have that dream and speak it out to reality and then take the action forward. You will do it. But sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you need that shift. You need that pain to be like, hey, that's enough, And usually when we have a lot of pain, a lot of us are sort of pushing away, like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want that, And then when you get far enough away from that pain, you sort of rest and relax because you're like, cool, I'm away, it's not happening anymore. And then from there, you slowly rest and relax on your laurels. And after a while, you wonder why you're going back to the same place and you're like, well, fuck, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this anymore. Why does it keep happening? Why does it keep happening? It's because you're focusing on the past. It's not enough pain for you to be like, okay, what's going on? What do I really want? Instead of using the motivation to push away from what you don't want, turning into what you do want and focusing on it and having it like pulling you towards you. So pain's a good motivator. You do not need to go through severe pain or trauma. Like a lot of people like, oh, I can't be this person, I can't be that successful because I don't have a pain story or a trauma story or nothing bad happened to me. Like a lot of people think that, that they were given the silver spoon, that they had to do everything easy, and so that means that they weren't good enough or capable enough to actually do something great and be successful because I've never had to be hungry, they've never had to fight or anything like that. That's okay. That's okay. Good on you. But what are you going to do to take that power? What are you going to start using that in a positive way? So chances are pain's going to be the one, but you do not need to have that pain event.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't like self-sabotage yourself to then fuck yourself over and then use it to then catapult yourself forward. That's just like that's shooting yourself in the foot and telling yourself to run a marathon. You know what I mean? But like, I like to think about using the chip on your shoulder, and like everyone's always got a chip on the shoulder, right? It doesn't matter what it is, whether you're like come from a broken home, whether you came from like poverty, whether you came from fucking rich household, whether you, I don't know, you miss your childhood sweetheart, you fucking, I don't know. Like everyone's got a chip on their shoulder, right? And like it's being able to fucking use that in whatever way you need to then get yourself out of it, keep yourself away from it, and push yourself forward, and then like become whatever you want to be. And like, do you think? So you mentioned right at the start of like purpose. Do you think you need that to be the catalyst to start, or do you think just starting is what allows you to then develop and more hone in on what your purpose is? What do you think?
Just start. Like, like for me at the start of my life changing, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't think about mindset coaching. I didn't think my life was going to be like where it is now. All I knew at the start that it was going to be better. I was going to be better. I was going to do whatever it takes to get myself out of where I was at. And not only that, but to thrive. And so from doing that, it slowly made me sort of take the steps forward. If you have an idea and a vision of where your life wants to be in 5, 10 years, that is fantastic. If you've got a vision of what it's going to be, do that. Get a vision board, put it up there, look at it, focus on it, write some goals and go for it. And then you might find over a year or two that some of those goals or some of those visions is not what you want. They may change, and you just adapt the plan. You just adjust. You pivot, adapt, adjust, but you carry on because you're still going on that same direction. So the sooner you have a vision, the sooner you have an idea of or a picture of what you want your life to look like or who you want to become, then you can start implementing a lot more. But for me, it was just a decision that I was just going to be better. Like my last day of drinking, like my day changed. I woke up flat on my back on the floor of my lounge with my own blood around me. Fucking my head's cracked open. I can't remember the night. And I was just like, from that moment, I was like, it's got to change. This is like, where the fuck did my life go? Where did this has got to stop. And then after that, I had to go face everyone. I had all these messages about what I said, what I'd done. I was on bail as well. I'm about to lose my career, my job. I'm in fucking financial and emotional debt. I'm like tens of thousands in debt. And I'm like, who the fuck am I? Where am I going? Skydiving, I still like a small, insignificant boy, piece of shit. Not even the skydiving could make me feel good anymore. And so I realized that all these doing all these extreme things and adrenaline and external was still not filling up what needed to be inside myself. But what I needed at that time was I had to believe that there was something more. And regardless of that, I just made sure that I did something better. The first thing I did was work on my body. And from the body, after a while, you get the mindset. And once you get the mindset, then you get the spirit and you get the higher power and you get the alignment. And when you got those three together, then you start incorporating them in your health, in your relationships, and in your business or career, and then in your life. And then you sort of getting like that trifecta, that tripod of balance. And then from there, then you can start getting a lot more clearer from that. You build the legs up so that the table can stand, and then you can put everything on the table, all your wins, all your victories, all your memories, all your experiences.
Build the legs so the table can stand, mate. I fucking love a metaphor, and that's made my day, mate. You know what? I'm gonna pinch that. I'll quote you.
Dude, go for it.
That's fucking brilliant, mate. And like it is just about starting, isn't it? Like you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Like everyone's heard that. But it's just about making a decision. Just fucking decide that you want to be better in whatever. It could be like, I'm going to decide that I'm going to be a better chef, but I'm going to be a better cook in my own house. I don't want to be a chef. I just want to cook better food.
100%.
And like from there, everything else, it's like the snowball effect, right? Create a little snowball, put it down, give it a little roll. After a while, ends up getting onto a hill. Push it down a hill, fucking does its business. And like all you got to do is make that decision to start. And then it's like you said, creating that trust in yourself. I like that. Create the trust with yourself that you can do it and you fucking will do it.
Yeah. And that's it. Once you have that trust in yourself, you back yourself. It's like, yeah, cool, I'm going to do that.
Back yourself,
like they say action triumphs fear. The sooner you take the action and, thinking, as soon as you put action between the thought and the decision and the action, the fear disappears. So if you have the trust in yourself, it's regardless if you take the action at that time or, the decision or thought, if you have trust in yourself, you know what to do. You know that you'll handle it. You know in yourself what you're capable of. Like for me, I have a trust in myself now that I can go to a bar, I can go to a social event, and it doesn't matter what people say, it doesn't matter what people drink or anything like that. I'm good. I trust trust myself enough to know that I'm not going that way no more. I trust myself on where I'm going, who I am, and on my view, on my vision. And so when you have that trust, then you build more. And it's like that, like you said, like the snowball effect. It builds momentum, and then it becomes an avalanche. And then that avalanche of awesomeness, of trust and certainty, just projects onto the world. And then you who you are.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you can build that trust, and if you can build that certainty, and if you have that courage to speak it, then you will change your life. Period.
Do you think, is that speaking it to yourself, or does it have to be to another person?
Speak it to yourself. If you speak it to yourself, and speak it to yourself in the mirror, and then if you speak it to others, hey, like I'm real, I'm raw, I'm relevant, I'm Josh motherfucking Hilbers, and I'm $1.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
And now out there, people can laugh, people can criticize, people can take their 2 cents from it. But that's me. That's my belief. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what gets me driven. That's what gives me hope and faith to believe and trust that I am going to create the life, and that life is going to be better.
For sure. And
Damn
why not
sure.
you?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? Exactly.
That's what I say a lot. I say that to me a lot. That's a conversation I have with myself a lot. Is why not? Why the fuck not?
Yep.
Like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be on the other side of the world, dude. Fucking working class, north of England, should be where I am, where I was fucking growing up. Council house, doing the same shit every day. Fucking pop a couple kids out before 22. Like, that's it. I should be doing the same shit, getting into trouble, but I'm on the other side of the world. So why the fuck not?
Exactly.
Why the fuck not? The only ceiling you put on yourself, the only ceiling on you, or the only limitation on you is the ones that you put on yourself. It's fucking true. Because what are they going to do? They're physically going to tie you down. All right. Well, if they physically tie you down, they've not touched you mentally. All right. So if they mentally break you, well, they've not physically broke you. So you've always got fucking something left.
Exactly. And a great book for that is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He's an Auschwitz Holocaust survivor. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. He talks everything about what you just said then. Everything. And it's such a powerful book. And once you give, life is to suffer.
Yeah.
Though to give meaning to that suffering is what gives meaning to the life. And when one can find the meaning in that suffering, then their life they can endure it anyhow.
For sure. Sure.
And for you just to be where you're at, like you say you're not supposed to be here, you are supposed to be here.
Exactly.
You're here to do this. You're here to share your voice. You're here to share the message. You're here to help people take charge of their health, take charge of their mindset. There's no coincidence in life.
And have a bit of fucking pride in yourself, right? Have a bit of pride in your parents and the heart that's beating in your chest, and be like, nah, I'm built for more. I'm built differently. I'm not built to fucking sit down and be like, okay, I'll do my 9 to 5. I won't say anything. I'll keep doing what I'm doing and like kind of be miserable in my own head. It's like, nah, we're not fucking robots. Have some pride in yourself. Do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Exactly. And that's what life's all about. Because I'll tell you one thing, you're going to end up dead. You're going to die. I guarantee you that you are going to die. And how do you want to live your life? When you get to the end, when you get on your deathbed and you have your last words, can you look back and say, it was a good run? Or are you going to look back and say, fuck, I wish I gave it more. Fuck, I wish I took a chance. Fuck, I wish I said that, did that. And that's where you've got to look at it. That's where you've got to start using that pain as a driver, the pain of the future, of how your life will look or won't look, what you're going to do in between that.
Fuck yeah, we all end up in the same place, mate.
It's the biggest. Yeah, go for it.
I've got 2, 4, 6. I keep saying quick fire questions, but I like asking deep questions, so they're never quick fire. So I kind of again shoot myself in the foot. But I got a couple of questions for you. Just a little written down. That I'm really interested to hear what you think. First one, what is your favorite book?
Ooh, my favorite book. It would have to be The Way of the Superior Man.
The Way of the Superior Man. Why?
The Way of the Superior Man, it talks about the masculinity of how a man at his essence, as a masculinity, as a spirituality, and as sort of like mentally and physically should operate. And it really took me to the perspective of where it took me from a boy to a man, and how I was acting like a boy in my relationships with women, with my career, with others. And it really made me have an understanding towards what a man, how a man is, how a man acts, the energies, and to sort of portray that image, and to have that purpose, to have that decisiveness and direction. It's like, it is such a good book for men to learn more about themselves, and it's such a good book for men to learn about women, and it's also such a good book for women to learn about men.
Wow. I'll have to give that a go, man.
Dude.
Wow.
Like, I was reading, it felt like it was stabbing me in the fucking heart a couple times. Like, it got under my skin.
That's what it needs to do sometimes. Sometimes it needs to, pick a brick up and smack you in the face with it, and then you start listening.
Well, it will do that. It will do that.
Sometimes you got to tell someone to shut the fuck up.
Usually yourself.
Yeah, usually yourself. Yeah. Fuck. 3 things. What are 3 things you'd say to a young person? It could be fucking anything.
Yeah.
But if I gave you 3 things to say to a young person, what would it be?
Drive fast and take chances. That would be the big one. Drive fast, take chances. Where was this one? You can only control the action, not the result. So drive fast, take chances. You can only control the action, not the result. And think big.
Think big.
Think big.
Hey, that's my favorite, man.
Yeah. Think big.
Fucking yeah. Why not?
Go massive, or you will go passive.
Fucking yeah. Ambition, man. Get some fucking ambition. I think I know this. I mean, we touched upon this a lot, but who's the most influential person you've met?
That I've met. I've met. That I met. Who do I? It would have to be Josh Coleman. Josh Coleman. He's a 2-time cancer survivor, and he was going on the way to being a gold Commonwealth gold medalist for New Zealand sprinting. And he went through the story of, going through cancer once and surviving, then going through cancer again and surviving, and carrying on, and just the life that he's lived, the life that he's transformed, and the way that he operates. He's touched on me very, 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 it's been a massive impact on me, to give me an understanding and appreciation of life. I've read his book. Josh Coleman, The Wind at My Back, a very powerful book, brought me to tears. And he was one of the people that came to me at the very start of me doing my transformation, and he came up to me and said, "Do you have a voice?" And he didn't know me from really a bar of soap, and it always stuck to me. And I've always had that ambition about that man. He's gone through hell and back, and he still has a love for life. He still has a love for others, and there's nothing more. So yeah, that man right there.
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. What's your biggest life lesson?
My biggest life lesson is not believing in myself sooner. My biggest life lesson is that if I started speaking to myself in those affirmations, and started believing in myself, and started doing this like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, if I got my kids, I'd get my kids to do it. that right there is what creates it. Because whatever our thoughts become things, our things become reality. So that would be my, like, for many years I thought myself as a piece of shit, and guess what? I became a piece of shit, and then I realized like there's something more, and so that's how I came. So that's my biggest lesson, is that self-belief, believing in yourself and speaking it.
Fuck yeah, man. Do you have a quote or a mantra that you live by?
I guess drive fast and take chances is my quote and mantra to sort of live by. It was when I did a few base jumps with a amazing man who's sort of been a bit of a role model in my skydiving career and base jumping career. And he said, drive fast and take chances. And it really stuck to me, because when we're growing up, we hear, be careful, drive safe, and it's instilling unconsciously, like, the world's a big, bad place and you're not ready for it and you're not good enough and you can't handle it. Whereas drive fast and take chances, because you're more than capable of it. You're more than capable to have that fun and to take those risks and to live life how you want to. So drive fast, take chances. So another one, I guess, for what I learned in skydiving is live free and die well.
Nice.
That would be that. That's a bit my
Live free, die well. I like that, man. Yeah. All right, last one, and then I need to jump off to a meeting.
Good man. Good man.
Describe yourself in 5 words.
Describe myself in 5 words.
I love a deep question, man. Like, no one fucking asks them, right? No one asks the deep questions. Everyone's like, "Hey, how are you?" and don't give a fuck about the answer. You know what I mean? But it's like you throw someone out like, "How's life?" Or "How's your family?" They're like, "What the fuck? You don't even know who I am. Why are you asking about my family?" But yeah, I like a deep question. So 5 words. It could be a sentence. It could just be 5 individual words, like whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go real, raw, relevant. Open, real, raw, relevant. Open-minded. And hungry. Very, very hungry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Where if people wanted to find you, where would you send them?
If people want to find me, it's Josh Hilbers on all social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram. I do a little bit of Twitter as well, but Facebook and Instagram are my main ones. Josh Hilbers, my name. That's JOSHHILBERS. And they can just get in touch on there, DM me, comment on my post, follow me. That's the best way to do it. I'm making a bit of a scene on the social media front, so that's the go.
Fucking do it. Love it. Free marketing, right? And it's a place where it gets a lot of shit. It gets a lot of bad rep, but at the end of the day, you get to affect people in a positive manner on the other side of the fucking world that you've never met before. Like, that's insane.
Exactly. It's a tool, and it's how you use it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Sure. And so it's a very powerful gift that we have. We're living in the greatest times of our lives in the history of mankind. We've got all these tools and resources and opportunities. Just how we use it. So Alex, I really appreciate your time, brother. I really appreciate you doing this, man. It's been powerful.
Thank you very much, man. Like, we're gonna have to do it again.
100%. And
love having conversations with people. Like, I know fuck all. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have conversations with people and you end up learning so much more, and you have those you ask those deep questions, and everyone just grows together.
And that's it. Once you give to yourself, you can give to others.
There you go, mate.
You make the world a whole better place, a whole different place. So I really appreciate what you're doing, man, and keep at it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Thank you very. yeah. I'll do my best to get down, man, and you'll see me dying on an assault bike or some shit. But if you put Forever on by Drake, I'll throw up some tin.
Yes. There we go. I can make it happen. I can make that happen.
There you go, man. All right. Peace and love. Josh Hilbers on Instagram or Facebook. Get on it.
Alex, brother, thank you, my man. I'm looking forward to catching up again, eh?
Crush your day, brother.
Same to you, brother. Same to you.
I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, that's it. All right, man. Later, brother.
Peace.